All right, meanwhile, as we pause to remember our brave servicemen and women who gave their lives fighting for our freedom, the Department of Veterans Affairs is dealing with a tough issue. They're limiting access to VA cemeteries and moving most Memorial Day ceremonies online, due, of course, to pandemic restrictions. One Florida congressman is objecting. Brian Mast, an Army vet, writing this, quote, with many parts of our country now in the process of a phased reopening, I find it appalling that beaches will be open for the holiday, but that access to VA cemeteries will remain restricted. So the Secretary of Veterans Affairs, Robert Wilkie, is joining us live now. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Ed. Thank you for having me.
We appreciate you being here. I want to give you a chance to respond to that. We'll go back and forth on what's happening at VA cemeteries, but I would be remiss to not start by at least giving you a chance to talk about what it's like to serve this great nation as VA Secretary, as the President leads the nation in marking this Memorial Day, sir.
Well, as some of you know, I'm the son of a grievously wounded combat soldier. I still serve in the Air Force Reserve. My earliest memories, Ed, are in elementary and kindergarten. And I've often said that when a classmate was called to the principal's office during those times in my youth, there was always a chance that that child wasn't going to a doctor's appointment, that there was bad news from Southeast Asia. So I was able to see this through the eyes of a child, not only with my father's recovery, but the loss of so many of his comrades, particularly at Fort Bragg, the home of Special Forces and, of course, the home of the 82nd Airborne Division. The one thing I always talk about, and I said this today at Quantico National Cemetery, the one thing that separates the American warrior from all other fighting forces in the history of the world is that we are the only people to offer a helping hand to all the peoples of the world, including our enemies. And as General Powell said so eloquently, the only thing we ever ask is a place to bury our dead. And I think that's a fitting memorial to all of the over 1 million Americans who have perished since the first shots were fired in Lexington in April of 1775.
Absolutely, very well said. But as we talk about those who are buried, it's a difficult subject, obviously, in the middle of this pandemic, about what to do to give people a chance to honor the dead. So we mentioned Congressman Mast. He's a warrior himself, as you know. He was grievously wounded as well, a veteran. And his point is, in part of the letter, that Americans should, quote, have the freedom to mourn and pay their respects in the manner they judge is best for themselves and their groups. So talk about why you decided, look, we've got to close off the VA cemeteries. What other ways are you offering for people to mourn, and when do you think they may open, sir?
Well, let me do something hard. I have to correct the congressman. We have 142 VA cemeteries. Not one of them is ever closed during this epidemic. I just spoke at the Quantico National Cemetery, and as I was speaking, I was looking out at families collecting to memorialize their loved ones. That's happening all across the country. What we had stopped were gatherings of large groups like the Boy Scouts. In fact, I issued a joint statement earlier last week with the Boy Scout leadership because thousands and thousands of Boy Scouts would have been in our cemeteries planting flags. Well, the Scout leadership decided in terms of safety for them, that they would honor veterans through a virtual celebration. And today, 3 o'clock, all across the country, Scouts will participate in our Veterans Legacy Project, and they will be standing at attention as the bugler blows taps and salute. I would also note that in Sandra's lead-in to the ceremony in Arlington, she noted that the Arlington National Cemetery, which is run by the Department of the Army, where the president was today, the families were there. The families were there doing what is most important, and that is memorializing and remembering their loved ones. And I think of all the things that we do, that is the most important. That is the most important element of what we give to the nation at VA, and they were able to perform those sacred responsibilities.
But, Mr. Secretary, in the last moment we have, closed might not have been the right word. Restricted, the congressman is saying. How do you justify that, though, that families have restricted access to these VA cemeteries?
Well, the families have access. That's the key. And they've also had access when we've had our burials. and those burials have been going on all across the country. But I would also note, as was hinted in your lead into the Arlington piece, we haven't had the benefit of Department of Defense honor guards. Those have been stopped for safety reasons. We'll return our cemeteries to full use very shortly, and it is a tragedy in one sense that we haven't been allowed to bring masses of the American people into our cemeteries. But as long as the families are allowed to go, that's the most important part of what we do.
It certainly is, and your words at the beginning about your own family and you as a young boy dealing with it, and some kids being called to the principal's office to find out that they lost a mom or a dad or an uncle or an aunt. We certainly appreciate your sacrifice to this great nation, your family as well. Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Thank you, Ed.